Hello, Scrappy Peeps. Suzanna here today to share with you these two pocket pages. They are 9 by 12. One is the large photo, and then there are those 9 3 by 4 pockets. So to start off with, I am using a digital cut file from A Cherry on Top. It's the snowflake background, and I'm actually using the background of the background, so the negative space. Each of those innards, as well as that outside, you'll see I'm going to spray pixie spray, so it puts a light tack adhesive on it, and I'm going to let that dry. It takes about 2 minutes, but I've sped this up. And then rearrange the stencil. Once that is down, and I am only using a 4 by 6 pocket of this, so I don't need to do the whole stencil. I had thought that maybe by doing a little bit extra that I would have some extra for another project, but I actually don't have that much left over. So I am covering back up my snowfall grit paste, and you have to take this off before it dries. Otherwise, you will have it stuck to the mixed media, which you do not want. So using some tweezers to finally get this off, because it's also still wet, right? So you have to be careful of that as well. And then I am going to set this aside to dry. And what I really like about this grit paste, the snowfall grit paste, is that this is on pretty thick. You'll see it in the close-up, but it doesn't buckle or warp the paper, which is super cool because a lot of really wet mixed media will do that. So I am going to set that aside, and now I'm going to work on the pockets. So I always buy the tags from Simple Stories collection. So this is the Simple Vintage, oh shoot, something snow. I don't have it in front of me, but it's the Simple Vintage Winter collection. And any Simple Stories collection, I always buy the tags. And then I typically buy the 6 by 8 paper pad, as well as the floral embellishments bits. Sometimes I will buy the journaling bits, but from there I just sort of, I have so much stuff. I really don't need any more. I don't need full collections. And that's why I like the 6 by 8 because it also works in my memory planner. So with this, I have the tags, the 6 by 8, and then these floral embellishment bits. And so what I want is 3 tags, one that's going to go on this large photo. It does tip out. It's but it's behind a page protector and at the bottom of the page, so it doesn't really matter. And I don't really need that much room for journaling. So I just created a tip out because I could. And so what I'm doing is I'm rifling through the embellishment bits there to see, I want some of the more green. So you can see there's a lot of blue in the photos, the blue in the sky, the blue in the reflection from the snow. And so I wanted to add a little bit more of that mint green to just pop those blues. So I am looking for papers to cut apart to fill in those 3 by 4 squares. Because I only have the 6 by 8 pad, I don't have the 3 by 4 cards. And so I just want to create my own fillers for these pockets. So this wood grain piece here, I'm actually going to end up cutting into 2 3 by 4s, and I will use both of those. I think I actually end up with 4 of them with the intent that I was going to use 3, but then I decided behind that tag there that I just turned upside down that I wanted something darker just to make that tag pop a little bit. So you can see there, I end up with 4 of them. And I had intended to use that, but it really, you lose the tag, the outer edges of it, and don't see that it's not the same size. And so that's why I'm going to go with a different piece of patterned paper there. So these are pictures of the only snow that I have been present for in Virginia. We were in Barcelona. Actually, we were in Spain. I think, where were we when the snow happened? I think we were in Barcelona when it snowed. It was cold in Barcelona, but not cold enough for snow. So the first snow here in Central Virginia, we weren't here for, but this was the second snow, but my first snow of this winter. And so I had intentionally gotten up and gone out before everybody else had hit the road. I knew it wasn't going to last long, and got some photos of myself, my shadow, and things things covered in snow. I love the snow. I have to say I do. I love fresh snow. So here I have the Tim Holtz mini snowflake. There's a million dies. And so I wanted to have snowflakes that I cut out with the pattern paper to go with the snowflakes of that background that I created, the texture background. But I also wanted elements that are going to tie the left-hand side of the page to the right-hand side of the page. It just so happens that I also have clusters of 3 that create a visual triangle that draw your eye around the 2 pages as well. So that tag with the mint green there, I am putting horizontally. I just like that the 3 different directions create some visual interest amongst those tags. So you have one that flips up, one that flips down, and then this one, that is actually not interactive. It's literally, I have adhered that down. And then, I do have the sticker sheet that I bought. And so I'm going to use some of the stickers as well. I really didn't want to cover that whole photo, but really it's blurred foreground. And so it's perfect to just cover it up with this little checklist of let's go sledding, skiing, snowboarding, ice skating, or inside. And of course, I'm looking at the layout now and I didn't check any of those. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. It's just fun. And it's a way to show you of how you can cover your photos and still have the material of the photo be present there. But also to think out of the box a little bit when you are taking photos, like that shadow one, for example. It looks like I'm stepping across stepping stones through the shadow, and that was done intentionally. Sometimes we just take our selfies or the picture of the house, like my bottom left picture, and we don't really think about how we can use it and incorporate design into some of our photos. So there are the snowflakes. So I'm going to put 3. Well, I guess I definitely end up putting 2, and then one is more of a cluster, and that's going to go on the snowflakes, the mixed media snowflakes that are going to go in those bottom 2 pockets. So adding a little bit, it's funny, as I was editing this layout, I realized that I put all of the things on the tags instead of on the photo to anchor the tags, but they don't really need anchoring, but I just thought that maybe having something to anchor them and you would slide the tag underneath so that it didn't flap in the wind per se, especially this one, because that vertical tab that opens at the bottom there is a flip up and not, it's outside of the pocket there. But the weight of the jute there kind of does hold it down a little bit. It was just interesting to me that given that I do so many memory planning layouts where I try and anchor things down, right? As you flip the page, you don't want that flying around, especially because of the weight of it, that I didn't do that, because that is something that I would normally just inherently do without thinking. So I'm out of practice apparently. So there are all of the pockets done except for my mixed media, which I'm still waiting to dry. So the idea behind the mixed media is I wanted a little bit of texture. I wanted something a little bit different. So instead of just cutting up more pocket cards or creating cut paper, I wanted something that added a little bit of variety. I also wanted a little bit more of that mint green, as I mentioned earlier, to just really pop the photo. And so I thought this was a fun way of getting some texture, especially that snow texture, right? Photos just don't do justice of the glimmer of snow. And I felt like I was able to capture that with the mixed media. So just adding in a few phrases here. I'm still waiting for that mixed media to dry and fussing around with things. So I'm kind of designing that bottom pocket without having the actual dry mixed media yet. What am I doing now? Oh, adding more. You can always add more. So there I put a heart in the center of the shovel. Again, sort of being I intentionally took the photo knowing that I would put something in the shovel. I was actually thinking that I might have used a different stencil and put a mixed, a glittery snowflake on the shovel. But because I've got this here, I didn't really need to do that. So I am going to cut myself a 4x6 pocket. What I didn't realize is that I'd forgotten I hadn't done this all the way down to the bottom of the page. And so there's actually a thin strip at the bottom that doesn't have mixed media, which is fine because I end up covering that space anyway. And it also saves from kind of the bulk in the bottom of the pocket there. So I'm going to cut this 4x6 into two 3x4s because I want it to go between the two pockets there. And see how that green, it pops the green in the other elements across the page, and it just adds a little bit more of an blend to that monochromatic blue. Yeah, there's some brown in there, but that's sort of more of a neutral color. And so I felt like things were getting lost, whereas this green just really brings a little bit more vibrancy to the page. So I am creating just a little bit of a wintry scene-ish there. So I've got the phrase that I cut across the two pages. And then these are the additional snowflakes, and those are actually die cuts from, actually, I think one's a sticker. No, those are actual die cuts from the floral embellishment bits and pieces that are going in there. So this is designed for a cherry on top. I am up on the blog, so you can see actual hard copy pictures over there if you want, as well as a little bit of a write-up on my process. I am using, so these are from the Vibes, Simple Vibes collection, so just basics of things. I'm pretty sure that there are enamel dots that come with this collection, but I don't buy them anymore because I have so many just enamel dots that I'm sure to find a color that coordinates amongst my stash there. So enjoy the close-ups. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Come back again soon. Take care.